Hello and welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me again for another night of Facebook Live. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I am your host, Tricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. Also want to give recognition for those who catch me on the replay from YouTube and or SoundCloud. Tonight we have with us our special guest co-host, Mr. Eric Anderson.
How are you? Hello, everybody, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're glad that you're here with us tonight. As tonight, we're just introducing my audience to you. So we want to know a little bit about who you are and what it is you do. Guys, and for you guys that are logging on with us tonight, if you would, go ahead and like and share this video. Like and share this video as you are logging on with us tonight. Also, give us a hello. Let us know that you are here with us tonight. As tonight, we're getting an opportunity to know this young man right here, Mr. Eric Anderson. I credit him as being one of my mentors. He is one of my mentors. And if you guys are familiar with the last book that I just completed, Struggling to Forgive, I give credit and recognition to Mr. Anderson for that project. I was able to complete that project while attending a course with Mr. Anderson on writing a book in record time. So I do want to kind of give Mr. Anderson an opportunity to give us a little insight about who he is and a little background information.
Okay. Well, you want to get into that now?
Go ahead.
All
yes.
right. Okay. Well, who am I? I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've lived here for almost 30 years, but I was born in San Diego, California. And I was the 9th child to a single mom. So obviously a whole lot going on there. And I was put up for adoption at birth. I was adopted when I was 2, but I was being abused in the adoptive home. So I was taken out of the adoptive home. I was put in state care and I became a ward of the court. And I lived in group homes and foster homes until I aged out of the system at 18. And obviously, had to go through some personal challenges, self-esteem issues, a lot of this, just trying to discover who I was. And there was a couple things that helped me really kind of figure that out. When I was a little kid, I was taught a very simple magic trick, was a card trick as a kid. And I wanted to be a magician at one point. And long story short, I made that dream happen and started traveling the world, just literally all over the world. And a good friend said, Eric, you should kind of talk about some of your backstory, some of your history about, growing up in foster care and all that. And I said, why? Nobody wants to hear all that. She said, nah, I think you should kind of talk about that a little bit. And so I did. And I was just shocked at the response. And the thing that really got me was the first time that none of the questions people had for me after my presentation had to do with how I was doing what I was doing. They wanted to know how I turned my life around. And that's when everything kind of changed for me. And I started to speak and kind of share my story with audiences. Initially, it was just corporate audiences, all these big companies. And then I realized, well, the people that really need the message is social workers, foster parents, adoption agencies, and youth in foster care. And so I started doing that and started just, again, traveling, not necessarily around the world with that, but just in the United States and just sharing my message and my story. And more importantly, how to overcome what seemed like impossible challenges.
Uh, so well said, you know, because we sometimes when we see people who have made it or have reached a certain level of success, we automatically assume that life has been easy or they haven't had to overcome many challenges and stuff like that. So you say you were in foster care by the age of 2, correct?
Well, I was initially adopted at 2,
Adopted, okay.
adopted at 2, and went back into care. I think I was about 8 years old.
Okay.
So.
So it just goes to show that, you know, we don't always have to have the silver spoon lined out for us to reach any level of success. I know that it's often that we neglect to tell our story because our story is important, and I think that it helps others connect with us and build relationships with us and feel connected, more connected to us when they have a little bit information about our history and things like that. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. We have a overwhelming demand for foster care and families to get involved in the foster care system here in this area. Just briefly, could you share a little insight about how that system impacted kind of leading up to where you are today?
Just going through the foster care system?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, what was interesting is I realized this as an adult, but going from home to home, right? I became extremely compliant because everybody had different sets of rules when you go to a new house and or group home, whatever it was. And I became very compliant to fit in. So that worked in that particular environment, but I realized as an adult, I was carrying that same mindset into adulthood, which really didn't work in that environment, right? Because now people are kind of walking over you and all that. So it was, but it was training grounds for figuring out life and understanding people. And as you said, understanding not only do I have a story, but you have a story. Everybody watching has a story. We all have stories. And one of the most powerful things we can do, and I did not realize it, is to share your story, to share who you are. Because when people know you, they want to know you, right? And it's just, and we all have life experience that that somebody else could benefit from, and we could help shorten that learning curve for people. And there's, I mean, I don't care what it is that you're trying to work through, there's always this learning curve. There's no way to really avoid that. But the easiest way to shorten it is to get with somebody who's already taken those steps. And so I'm real big on mentorship. And my social worker, and it's interesting, he was the only social worker I remember going through care. And it was actually as I was about to age out. I was maybe 16 when I met him. His name was Charles Russell. And he was the brother to famed basketball legend Bill Russell. And he met with me and we went out, and he first was interesting. He wanted to build a rapport. So what he liked to do, basketball, right? So that's an obvious kind of, fit there. And he just taught me a few things, but he tied everything he was teaching me through sports initially. He tied back to life. And one of the things I remember him telling me, and it's the thing that really stood out. And I always say it doesn't take a whole lot to make major shifts in your life. But he said, because I was doing really, really badly in school at the time. And it wasn't because I couldn't do better. It's just my mind was just in a different spot. And he said, Eric, do you realize if you took the same energy and focus that you put into your magic tricks, I was just doing, card tricks and all this stuff at the time. And if you put that into your schoolwork, you'd be a straight A student. And even though I didn't listen to what he said, because I said, oh yeah, you're probably right, but I didn't do it. I realized later in life when I was deconstructing, kind of working backwards and said, okay, what is it that allowed me to kind of have this mindset? And what I realized he taught me was that I was already successful at something. And because I was successful at one thing, I could be successful at something else. And that doesn't seem major, but that was huge for me, because then everything I go after, even to this day, I said, okay, so I kind of follow a process. Okay, I need to learn this, I need to learn this, I need to learn this. And eventually I'll experience, some sort of positive result, hopefully. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It just goes to show, guys, that no matter where we are in life, we are important. Our words are important. How we interact with our youth is important. And, we make a difference with just the little things that we do, just being involved, just being a voice for those necessarily that don't feel like they have a voice or that seems hopeless, because we know that many of our children, even here, go through so much, but just kind words, just someone taking interest in them and what they do and what they have going, speaking positivity and just letting them know that you're there and concerned, eventually makes all the difference in the world. Now, Mr. Anderson, I met you through research in looking to advance my platform as a public speaker. So whatever led you to the place that you are, I appreciate them, because I know that they played a role in your life. And I appreciate you for being there and being willing to teach and train people like me and to help us expand our territory as well. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you do professionally now.
Mhm. Well, I always like to say everything that we've experienced in life is some way to help somebody else. And like I said, shorten that learning curve. And again, the most powerful thing you could do is to show somebody how to do what you have already done through experience, through trial and error, and to help other people. So what I do today is I show other people how to connect with their story, right? Connect with their message, connect with their power, how to translate that into a message that people will identify with, and then how to transfer that to an audience, how to get that out to the world in a big way, so you could also have impact on people. And getting out to the world I'm not necessarily mean worldwide. That's one way of doing it, obviously, right? But it also just means in your local community. It could be statewide. It could be nationwide. It could be through books. It could be through I guess Facebook Live, right? But getting a message out to people, communicating with people, and that helps change other lives. And I remember this young man, he came up to me in the street, and he just came up. He said, "Man, I saw you speak, man. I saw you speak." And it was at this event called the Celebrations of Excellence, and it was it was a graduation for just youth in foster care, right here in Georgia. And so they had their own special graduation. They brought in all the youth from different counties, just all over the place. And it's such a great idea. And I wish more states were actually doing it. Maybe more are, but he said he saw me. He said, "Ben, I saw you speak at that event, and don't you ever stop doing what you're doing." And he made me promise him I would not stop doing it. And so obviously I still go out and speak today, but I also realized to have a greater impact is to show other people how to communicate what it is that they do and get their messages out. So that's been my focus now, and I absolutely love it. And it's just transformational, and it makes everything make sense. Because I was saying to myself, at some point before I, figured out all the pieces, I said, okay, why the abuse? Why, why this? Why that? And then I realized it must be because I was placed here to help other people. And then once I realized that, then it's like, well, everything makes sense now. So once it made sense, it's just, you get this clarity. It just, you don't have all these, burdens and all these mindset issues that I had in the past.
Oh yeah, I think with the educator in me, educator by trade, but also I know that I'm an educator by purpose and destiny as well. It's important to empower people with the knowledge and encouragement to just let them know that, you know, they're in control of their destiny. And information, all you have to do is go out there and get it. We live in a world or society now to where, you know, we don't have any excuses. You know, we have access to a lot of the things that we need. And that is one of the things that I think is most important, is just mentoring other people and sharing what we know to help others get to places where they desire to go as well. Because none of us get where we are in life or in our career alone, by ourselves. You know, we always need the help of someone along the way. And so I just believe that that is important. And you mentioned about books. And I have written two books, but I also written one book, my last book, Struggling to Forgive, as a result of a course that I took with you, writing a book in record time. How did you come up with that idea for, especially during such times as we're living in now with COVID and some of the other things?
Right. Well, one, it was understanding that people were looking for solutions, right? So with COVID and everything happening the way it did, it opened up a lot more people to like, okay, wait, hold on. I think I might need something else, because I didn't, you know, like nobody factored in that this could happen. And what's interesting is, I remember a friend said, he said, you seem unconcerned about this. And I said, well, you know, obviously I have compassion for people and that, but I mean, my whole life has been, you know, is been figuring out how to deal with challenges. And my whole thing has been, how do you, you know, if your, you know, source of income is taken away, you're down to your last few dollars. You can't borrow the money from somebody else. You can't go stay with somebody. You can't go to a bank and all this stuff, because that's the situation I was in coming out of foster care. What do you do? Right. So that's what led me on my journey to figure out all these different things. So the course you took, Writing a Book in Record Time, was simply me sharing my process that I kind of figured out through trial and error on how to get something done really, really quickly. So that's that's how that happened. And this is my second book, The Magic of Attitude, and we'll give them. I'm going to gift everybody a copy of the book, and in a second. So, but it's just how to get it done, like how to get stuff done. And so a lot of people spend a lot of time. Usually, where all the time comes in is deciding to do something. Once you make the decision, it's just a matter of taking the steps. So I'm like, okay, doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't, you know, all this stuff it just needs to get finished. And once it's finished, you can start making improvements. And so I'm real big on getting stuff done, because I didn't, you know, like a lot of us, we all have stories, we all have backstories. And so I'm about getting to it. And not all this fussing around and playing with it. But at the same time, I also understand people need strategies. So when you took the course, right, you had a couple books prior to it, but you said, you know, there was a couple things in the course that really help accelerate, help accelerate what you're able to do. And so that's what I love to share with people. Just here's how to, get this, in this case, a book, but it's also works with finances. It works with the business. It works with, so I have different processes for different stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed learning some of those shortcuts to writing a book. It really put a lot of things in perspective as well. And guys, as you heard Mr. Anderson say, I did already put a link there in the comment section for you guys, and it is ericandersonlive.com/and.html. So we want you guys to be able to take a look at that, as well as his gift to you, and I'll let him tell a little bit more about that here in just a second. Mr. Anderson, and you do a public speaking platform, but you're also known as the magician with the message, correct?
I am, yeah, known as the magician with a message. And I'd like to say magicians, we're notorious for keeping secrets, but I like to gift one of life's greatest secrets, and that's, how do you go live a magical life, right? So for me, the magic is simply a metaphor, right? Because magic is about the impossible. But for me, it's a metaphor to show that anything's possible, right? And I founded the group Speaking for Newbies, founded the thing World Class Presentations, and so again, like I said, today I show people. I still go out and perform. I still love that. I don't, because that saved my life, literally saved my life. And so I still go out and perform, but when I'm giving a presentation, I mix the two together in a very unique, interesting, and very different way that people aren't really accustomed to seeing. And it has impact. It has real impact on people, and it's memorable. But with that said, I also show other people how to go be memorable with their what I call a superpower, right? We all have superpowers, and so how do you take that? How do you take your message? How do you combine the two and to deliver that, right? So you stand out in a big way.
Well, that is wonderful, because I know that here I know a lot of speakers. I know a lot of people that are just discovering purpose. A lot of us are just stepping out on purpose, on our purpose, and living life, and how to trust the blueprint that life has laid out for us. Because a lot of times, we look at our past as if it is there to provoke shame, or if it is there as something to count us out. But I appreciate that you can sit here with us tonight and be transparent in sharing where your beginning started, but also to share with us how you used a blueprint of your own life to get to your level of success, and how you're also able to mentor and impart your gifts into the lives of those people like me who are public speakers, and so many others that you've impacted in helping them write their books or helping them with their platform. And one thing that I did really like and embrace about your courses is that you've never tried to conform our platforms to be like you, or to be like yours. You just kind of nurture what we do, and just kind of shape that we do, so that we are still ourselves. We still take on our own image and things like that. So I like that about you, and that you're able to do that, so that we're not an imitation of what you are, but we are authentic, and develop more and more confidence within ourselves. So I appreciate that as well.
Thanks. And that's important because, one, I always talk about the internal dialogue that we all have. We all have what we're saying to people, and then we have what we're really thinking inside, right? Well, what you're saying inside and what's coming out of your mouth needs to be together. Otherwise, we're listening to somebody and something doesn't quite sound right. It's like you're not quite getting it. And usually the internal dialogue is opposite of what they're saying on the outside when that happens. Another thing you pointed out is I always tell people, do you, and don't run away from who you are, run towards it, right? So when you run towards who you are, again, you're not trying to hide. Like, I don't hide my past. I don't, there was times I did because I didn't know how to explain it to people. You're someplace and they say, "Oh, where's your family?" I didn't want them to feel bad, so I just make up something or at the time. But now you run towards who you are. So if you have a past that doesn't quite mesh with what society's image of where they think you should be, but if you push that out there, right? If you push that out there, and if you do it properly, right, there's ways to do it. Push that out there. That becomes your superpower, and that becomes what, like why you stand out. And I remember a friend of mine. He always jokes and says, God always says. He says, person stands up and says, I was on drugs, I was homeless, grew up in foster care, I did this, I did that, I blah, blah, blah. And I'm doing better. And everybody applauds and gives him a standing ovation. And he said he gets up there and he says, well, I've done nothing. Nothing's, just kind of, I didn't do any of that stuff. And people just kind of look at him, right? So it's a joke that he has, but like we have between each other. Not that I've done drugs, not that I've done that stuff. I'm just saying, it's a kind of a joke that we have between each other. But people want to know you have a story. That's what I'm trying to say. They want to know that you have a story.
That's right. And it's so important. I know I was just one of those type of people that was just private. Even people that know me or knew me, they've known me more in the past several months since the pandemic than ever before. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable being here every night and getting the love and support from those that know me best. And they're here and they're supportive and I love them. And it just gives me life to be able to come here every night and to sit with them and introduce people like you to them and to share with them and be transparent and be okay with whatever the topic is and be okay with sharing and just encouraging and being supportive for one another. So I know that you have some books and resources there that you'd like to share with the audience tonight. And so what I'm going to do is just yield the floor to you and just let you share with this audience what you'd like to share with them.
Okay. Well, like I said, this is my second book called The Magic of Attitude, and it's about mindset. Because I'm a big believer in, take everything away from me, but give me my mind and I'll figure it out, right? So it's just about how to it's just mindset. It's the 4 strategies that I, not necessarily developed, but 4 strategies I used in my life to just kind of figure it out. And it's a real simple read. It's 74 pages. So I have a gift. When you go to the website, ericandersonlive.com/and.html, you could download a copy of the book, a digital copy of the book. And there's also an interview I did there with the radio host, a blog talk radio host, Constance Arnold. And again, it's talking about attitude. It's just talking about you get this right, everything else just kind of falls in place. So when you go to the website, there's nothing you have to fill out. I'm not asking for your email address or name or anything like that. You just go there and download it. It's yours to keep. Because again, I'm a big believer in gifting, not giving, but gifting people stuff, and with no obligation. So obviously there's other stuff on the website, but you can look at that if you choose to. It's a lot of other stuff. But yeah, so make sure you go download the book. I will leave this. I'll leave it up permanently. Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Or are they? I'm not necessarily looking at what you're looking at, but or you have any more questions? Or
if you are here with me tonight, I see some of you guys have left comments in the comment section, just agreeing or going along with affirming some of the things that have been said. If you have a quick question that you'd like for me to ask Mr. Anderson while we have him with us, you can go ahead and type that question in, and I'll be glad to share that question with him tonight, because I think I can only see it from my screen as I can see. But we appreciate you for that gift that you're gifting to us, and we'll be sure to download and take a look. I always tease and tell people, I can use all the help with attitude as I can get, because that was one of the big factors when I began to really look at my life for what it was. You know, you can change your vocabulary and you can change places that you go and what you look like and what, you know, we change so many of the exterior things, but when it comes to attitude, that is an inner issue that we have, and oftentimes it's one of the most neglected things that we have, just transforming this mind of ours. And so it's a lot of what I like to talk about, especially here on this platform, just our mindsets, because it is important. But guys, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I don't see any questions coming up, but if you do have questions, feel free to go ahead and type it in the comment section, and we'll be sure to share that information with Mr. Anderson. Now, if somebody wanted to contact you from here, how can they reach you? And any last words you'd like to say to the audience tonight?
Let's see. If you want to reach me, my website, Eric Anderson Live. There's a contact page there, and all my information is there. And I'm real easy to reach in the sense that of, you know, I'm not hiding, right? So all my stuff is there. And but last words is, I guess we'll talk about attitude real quick. One of my interesting thing about the word attitude, ATTITUDE, right? If you were to spell that out on a piece of paper and take each letter and transfer it to its numerical equivalent in the alphabet. So A is 1, T is 20, right? T is 20. Trust me, I've already done this, right? And if you were to add all of that up, it totals 100. Right, which is fascinating. And the only other word in the English language to do that, as far as I know, is the word discipline.
Oh.
Right. Right. So do it. Map it out. I mean, write out the word and transfer it to its numerical equivalent in the alphabet and add it up. It totals 100. And like I said, do the same thing with the word discipline. And I say that's the secret to all of it right there, attitude and discipline.
Well, I think we just got some a secret message and all that, attitude and discipline, which is a lot of times is what we lack from day to day, attitude and discipline. So we just learned some principles, some key principles right there, attitude and discipline, guys. So Mr. Anderson, we appreciate you being here with us tonight and introducing yourself to us, letting us know who you are and what it is you do. I certainly appreciate you, and I am grateful for having you as a mentor and playing a major role in my development as a speaker and as an author. So I commend you for that, just taking out the time to share your gifts and give your insight to mentor so many of us. Guys, I appreciate you sacrificing being here with me tonight. I am your host, Antricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker, and my special guest co-host tonight, Eric Anderson. We'll see you guys tomorrow night, same time, 10 p.m. here on Facebook Live. Good night, everybody.
Good night.